Speaker Mike Johnson goes into two issues: government efficiency and assisted death is what the Democrats' code word have, or the left has, out in the UK. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. I'm Doug Tenaple, your host. I try and find the big issues of the day. That Mike Johnson is doing this issue is very good for the social issues on the Republican side. We've seen a lot of those issues go away. So first, we're going to start with this one opening statement with Mike Johnson. Thank you guys for subscribing and commenting below.
Well, there was a report that came out today. I don't know if you all have seen it, but someone did a little survey of how many federal employees are actually working in the office. By one estimate, it may be about 1% if you don't count the security personnel that are covering these buildings. That is absurd.
1% of government agencies actually work in the office. Now they're going to make them go back to the office. We saw this on a Rand Paul video that I did yesterday. That's going to be part of their ways they're going to shrink government, forcing employees back to the office. Tons of them will quit. But our government's wasting about, I think they said it was like $15 billion a year on empty offices. Now, here's Mike Johnson commenting on the UK making it a national law to allow for what they call physician-assisted suicide.
Last Friday was a sad and shameful day for the English-speaking world. Why? That's because the UK Parliament voted to legalize euthanasia in their whole nation.
Now, that's just insane to me, but, you know, that's where we're at. The world is still socially and morally getting darker.
It's an ancient truth that medicine should always heal and never harm.
Do no harm, and it should always heal. That's the Hippocratic oath that every doctor and nurse, they all have to take this commitment to life. Nurses, they're not allowed to harm people. And that is what assisted death is. It is to force harm. Look, I got my Band-Aid here. I had some stitches done. I got some skin cancer taken off my arm. That Band-Aid's going to be there while his stitches heal. But the doctors, they're committed to help me, not hurt me.
But the UK just joined Canada in twisting that definition of medicine and codifying the Orwellian language of assisted death into law.
And that's the most important thing. This is Orwellian, the Orwellian word, assisted death. The left will never tell you what they're actually doing, as if death is just, you know, it was going to naturally occur. And that's not the case. It's murder, or it is killing. It is the active ending of life. That is not just death. That doesn't fully cover it. And that's why I say it's Orwellian, because George Orwell always talked about Big Brother always making up code words that didn't clearly say what they're doing.
I just want to say this. America has always stood out as a beacon, as a shining city on a hill. We've stood out in this regard. Our declaration makes the bold proclamation, the acknowledgement that life is a gift from our Creator. Our founders called it a self-evident truth, that all of us are made equally by our Creator, and that He's the one that gives us our rights. And any society that rejects that truth about life as a gift from our Creator and adopts a culture of death is a society that is in the process of crumbling.
We have a right to life. It is enumerated. Right. It is your right. All men are created by the Creator. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. That is our right. And you cannot, by the way, you can pass a law. It does not remove the right. It just means the law is evil and counter to your rights. So the government, all it can do is pass laws that uphold or recognize your rights, or they pass laws that obfuscate or do not recognize your rights.
So-called assisted death endangers the weak and marginalized in a society, and it corrupts medicine, and it erodes our obligations to family. And I hope and pray that the people of the United Kingdom will work through democratic means and reverse that legislation.
And this is another warning that I have is we now have it legal, you know, in certain states and in certain countries to end the beginning of life. And now we're going to end the end of life, and it won't be long before at any time in that middle, people can freely end that life, which is, these are dark times. If you don't value life, you don't value, how can you value anything? How can you value your rights to your tax rate or to equal process or to equality under the law? That is a foundational right that when that goes, it's much easier for them to take away other or pass laws that counter other rights.
House Republicans are committed to rejecting socialized medicine and the nanny state, and we will promote and respect every life, no matter how old or sick or weak those persons may be.
I'm glad that he's being public about this because we don't speak out about it enough. It'll appear to be another issue that Republicans are ashamed of, and it just needs to get pushed out of our platform. You know how this goes. And now here's Mike Johnson back with that government efficiency thing of making sure that government agents go to work if they're getting paid.
One of the first things that I think you'll see is a demand from the new administration and from all of us in Congress that federal workers return to their desks and get back to the work that they're supposed to be doing. I think that is common sense.
That is so radical. Can you imagine that you're paying a federal employee and only 1% of them are working at their desk? This is what the Democrats and the rhinos were fighting with the Department of Government Efficiency. Mike Johnson here is heralding Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy's work. But the idea that you have to tell people to go to work when they're getting paid for by us, the taxpayers, I'm a pretty tough boss. And I say if they don't go to work, you fire them. I'm Doug in Exile.